Hi everyone and welcome to episode 7 of the Shenmue Talk series here at the Shenmue official channel. In this episode we are going to analyze the story of Shenmue 3, and although in general the story didn't progress as it was expected by most of the Shenmue fans, including myself, I believe that if we analyze its story a little bit more in depth, we will uncover some interesting things along the way. So, as usual, let's get started. As we all know, Shenmue 3 starts right off where Shenmue 2 ended, with Ryo and Shenhua at the Phantom River Stone Cave, where they found the two giant carvings of the dragon and phoenix mirrors. This initial cutscene is of very important significance because it binds the fates of Shenhua and Ryo and connects them with the old prophecy from Bailu village. In my opinion, this cutscene also carries a very important symbolic meaning that is connected to a subject that has been present throughout the story of Shenmue and that has been analyzed in previous episodes of the Shenmue Talk series here at the channel. I'm talking about the combined forces of Yin and Yang that are represented in this cutscene not only by the mythological creatures of the dragon and phoenix, but also by Shenhua and Ryo. Both our main protagonists and the mythological creatures represent the masculine and feminine principles of Yin and Yang. This is one example among many others that we will find and analyze throughout this episode. And with that being said, let us carry on with the analysis of Shenmue 3's story. So, right after exiting the cave, Ryo and Shenhua make their way into Bailu village. They would soon find out that some thugs have been causing trouble around the village. It seems that they have been harassing and interrogating the local stonemasons because of their possible connection with the Phoenix Mirror. This explains why Shenhua's adoptive father may have disappeared, and it was while investigating the whereabouts of Shenhua's father and the other stonemasons that Ryo encountered Grandmaster Fang, a martial arts master that trained Ryo's father Iwao and Zhao Sunming while they were in Bailu village. He hears Ryo's story about his father's death and the mirrors, and just like Ryo, he does not believe that Iwao was capable of murdering Zhao Sunming. According to Grandmaster Fang, Iwao and Zhao Sunming were friends and often trained together, sharing martial arts techniques to improve their skills. But besides that, he didn't know much more about them, so he suggests that Ryo should visit the resident monk at Manyuan Temple, because he might know more about his father while he was in Bailu village. By talking to the monk, Ryo learns that his father and Zhao Sunming visited the temple about 20 years ago to train their martial arts skills, but then they suddenly stopped coming to the temple and were never seen again in Bailu village. The monk also told Ryo that his father wrote an ima as an offering to the temple. While looking for the ima, the monk lets Ryo explore the temple, and it is here that Ryo finds a very important clue regarding the mirrors.
What? The Verdant Bridge? It must be pretty old. What the? Who exactly are these people?
So sorry to have kept you waiting. Have you found anything of interest?
This photo here.
Ah, yes, that photo is said to be of an Imperial envoy dispatched to Bailu village by the Emperor himself.
What are these crests on these banners?
They represented the will of the imperial family. A dragon for the emperor, and a phoenix for the empress. It is said that the emperor of the time revered the dragon and phoenix greatly.
Why was this imperial envoy visiting Bailu village?
I'm afraid that is all I know.
Would you mind if I borrowed the photo?
Oh, It wouldn't hurt to show a bit of faith in Iwao-san. Please take it.
Thank you. I'll be sure to bring it back to you.
Hold on, take this too. Your father left it as an offering for the temple. I cannot read what it says, but I hope that it brings you some comfort.
So, as we have seen, Ryo finds at the temple an old photograph of an imperial envoy that was sent to Bailu village by the emperor himself. The envoys carried banners with the same design of the dragon and phoenix mirrors. According to the monk, these represented the will of the imperial family, symbolizing the emperor and the empress, and that they were highly revered at the time. This revelation pretty much confirmed what we had already analyzed in the previous episodes of the Shenmue Talk series. But besides that, there is also another interesting pattern in the banners that might reveal a little bit more than what we have just seen. As you can see, the imperial banners also present another symbol that might be familiar or not to you. The symbol that we are looking at is called the swastika, or swastika. It is a geometrical figure and an ancient religious icon in the cultures of Eurasia. It is used as a symbol of divinity and spirituality in Indian religions, especially Hinduism. In the Western world, it was a symbol of auspiciousness and good luck until the 1930s, when it became a feature of Nazi symbolism, as an emblem of the so-called Aryan race. As a result of World War II and the Holocaust, most people in Europe and the Americas associated with Nazism and anti-Semitism. The word swastika comes from Sanskrit, meaning conducive to well-being or auspicious. In Hinduism, the symbol with arms pointing clockwise is called swastika, symbolizing Surya, the sun, prosperity and good luck, while the counterclockwise symbol is called Salvastika, symbolizing night or tantric aspects of Kali, while in Buddhism it symbolizes the auspicious footprints of Buddha. As we have read, the swastika is an ancient religious symbol that was present in many European and Asian cultures, and it is associated with good virtues. But what connection does the swastika have with Shenmue? Before answering this question, let us recall a cutscene from Shenmue 1 that will help us establish this connection.
Hello.
Oh, Hazuki-san.
Thanks for your help the other day. But can I ask for your help with one more thing?
What is it?
It's about this mirror. Can you tell me anything about it?
Let me see it. This is a very unusual mirror.
It's called the Phoenix Mirror.
Phoenix. In China, the phoenix is the legendary bird of fortune. It's a guardian for the Sky Lord.
Guardian?
The other guardian is the dragon.
A dragon.
In China, people consider the North Star to be the lord of the sky. Look there. That is an old Chinese map in stone, see? It's a map of the Big Dipper from the Han Dynasty. On a moonless night, should you pray to the stars, your wishes shall be realized. The Big Dipper revolves around the immovable North Star. In China, the North Star is highly respected. For ages and ages, people have worshipped it. In China, there are numerous fascinating legends about the stars.
I see. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
As we have seen, in this cutscene, Ryo learns that the dragon and the phoenix are guardians for the Skylord, and that the Big Dipper revolves around the immovable North Star. And it is this movement that establishes the connection between the Big Dipper and the swastika. The swastika was a marker for the 4 seasons of the year, as the ancients knew intimately. The luminaries were their guides and teachers, as well as provided much consciousness for mankind before humans developed free will. As we have seen, there is definitely a connection between the swastika and the Big Dipper, a constellation that has been referenced in Shenmue several times. Also referenced in Shenmue are the mythological creatures of the dragon and the phoenix, as well as the white tiger and the black tortoise. And they are also connected with the stars, with each one being represented by its own constellation, and just like the Big Dipper, they also represent the 4 seasons of the year. But there is yet another very important connection that can be established with the ones that I've mentioned before, a connection with a very important subject that I've mentioned at the beginning of this episode, and that is, of course, the forces of yin and yang. Taiji, yin-yang and the swastika are 2 cosmical symbols which represent the laws of nature and expressing good fluidity but also perpetual motion of rotation of the constellation Big Dipper around a fixed point, which is the North Star. The North Star seen from Earth appears in the sky as the only star which doesn't move, symbolizing eternity. The North Star is the heavenly emperor Go-Chen, corresponding to the movement Earth for Chinese culture in the Taiji symbol of yin and yang, and the center of the cross of the swastika in Indian culture. As we have seen, all the symbols that we have analyzed are intricately interconnected and are present throughout the story of Shenmue. But what is the true purpose of these symbols and their connection with the story of Shenmue? For now, this question remains unanswered, but let us carry on analyzing the story of Shenmue 3 and see if we can uncover more information that might help us find the answer. So, before leaving the temple, the monk gives Ryo the ima that his father wrote as an offering to the temple. In the ima, Iwao asks for Akane to wait for him and promises that he will return. I believe that this ima was written to Ryo's mother and that Iwao was embarking on a dangerous quest involving the mirrors. This was most likely the reason why Iwao wrote this ima, and why he and Zhao Sunming were never seen again at the temple and in Bailu village. After leaving the temple, Ryo decides to show the picture of the Imperial envoys at the Verdant Bridge to Shenmue, in hopes of uncovering more information about the mirrors.
This is the Verdant Bridge. "1910, the second year of Xuan Tong. That's the year it was finished."
It's pretty old then. The resident monk said it was built for an imperial envoy that visited Bailu. Look at the flag and the mirror.
These patterns match what we saw in my father's quarry. This might help us find him.
Is there anyone who might know more about the bridge?
Elder Ye probably would.
Who?
The elderly lady who makes medicine for the village. She lives near the village square.
Perfect. I'll go see her tomorrow.
Thanks.
So, at Shenmue's house, Ryo shows her the picture that he found at Manyuan Temple. By examining the picture, Shenmue uncovers that it was taken in 1910, in the second year of Xuantong. It seems that the picture is pretty old, and that the only person that can know more about it might be Elder Ye, the elderly lady that makes medicine for the village. Ryo then decides to visit her the next day to try and uncover more information. But before carrying on with the story, let us analyze what was happening in 1910 and what exactly Xuantong really means. So, as we can see, the word Xuantong refers to Puyi, the last emperor of the Qing dynasty. According to this text, he reigned from 1964 to 1911. This indicates that the reign of the last emperor of China ended just 1 year after the photo was taken. I believe that this new information will help us further ahead to make some conclusions regarding the story of Shenmue. But for now, let us carry on with the story of Shenmue3 and see what information Ryo can uncover about the imperial envoys that were sent to Bailu village. The next day, Ryo visits Elder Ye in hopes of finding out more about the Imperial envoys and the Verdant Bridge, but unfortunately Elder Ye was reluctant to give him any information on the matter, so Ryo had to ask other elderly people at the village. And it is by talking with the elderly people at the village that Ryo finds out that an old man named Su might know more on the matter. According to Su, the Verdant Bridge was built by the villagers as a way to welcome the imperial envoys. He recalls that the envoys' clothing was quite ostentatious, but he did not know the reason why they had come to Bailu village. Ending up with very little information, Ryo asks Sun if he knows someone else that might know more about the matter. Su then points out that another old man named Sun might know more about it. Ryo would eventually find out the whereabouts of Sun with the help of Grandmaster Fang. It seems that Sun is an old training partner of Fang and that he resides at the abandoned temple. Fang suggests that Ryo should bring wine and buns to Sun in order to meet him. As suggested by Grandmaster Fang, Ryo places the wine and buns at the abandoned temple. By doing so, he is able to meet Master Sun, and finally ends up getting some concrete answers about the reason behind the visit of the Imperial envoys to Bailu village.
Please, tell me about the completion of the Verdant Bridge.
The Verdant Bridge. I must have been 10 or so. They sent an Imperial envoy here, to Bailu. We built the bridge to welcome the Imperial envoy. I remember waiting near the bridge with Ye and Su to catch the envoy's arrival. We had to shove our way to the front, but what I saw was etched into my memory.
Why was the envoy sent to Bailu?
That's the question, isn't it? For a Phantom River stone mirror.
What does a mirror have to do with this?
That envoy was on a mission to get a mirror made by the greatest stonemason in China. They came by decree of the Emperor.
And who was the stonemason?
His name was Yuan Yushan, and he stood above the rest. He lived in Bailu. He was Yuan's grandfather.
I see. So that's the connection.
So, in this cutscene, Ryo finally gets the answers to why the Imperial envoys were sent to Bailu village, and how the family of Shenhua's adoptive father is connected to the mirrors. This answers the question of why Yuan must have been kidnapped by the thugs. Meanwhile, Yanqin, Yuan's stonemason apprentice, was found by the thugs at the hermit's nest. His mother visits Shenhua begging for help, afraid that they might hurt her son. Shenhua promises that she and Ryo will try to rescue him in the next day. In the next morning, Ryo and Shenhua go to the hermit's nest to try and rescue Yanqin. They know they have no choice but to confront the thugs because they are the only link to their fathers and the mirrors. Unfortunately, they do not manage to rescue Yanqin because Ryo is defeated by the leader of the thugs. His name is Yan Lang, and he has been found by Shenmue fan Yuk02 to be inspired by the traditional Mongolian wrestlers, as you can see in this image that was posted at the blog phantomriverstone.com. So, if you want to check out this post or other Shenmue related content, there is a link in the description below. After having been defeated by the leader of the thugs, Ryo looks for the help of Master Sun, but in order for Sun to teach Ryo the technique to defeat the leader of the thugs, he would have to carry out many painstaking tasks for the master and undergo a rigorous martial arts training before learning the move. Ryo endures Master Sun's rigorous training and finally learns the move that will help him defeat the leader of the thugs. The move that Ryo performs is called the body check, but it is also known in the Virtua Fighter series as Tetsuzanko, as it is also performed by his counterpart Akira Yuki. This move is also part of a martial arts discipline called Baji Chuan, and it is one of its signature moves. I'm also going to leave some links in the description below in case you want to know more about this traditional Chinese martial art. After learning the move from Master Sun, Ryo heads back to the hermit's nest and confronts one more time the leader of the thugs, and ends up winning the fight with the body check. The leader of the thugs is then tied up and interrogated by Ryo, but to his own frustration, all his efforts end up with no outcome whatsoever. It is here that Shenhua steps up, asking the guards and Ryo to wait outside and leave her alone with the leader of the thugs. It then seems that Shenhua uses some kind of psychic ability to force the leader of the thugs to talk. This ability confirms that Shenhua is definitely the most mysterious character in the Shenmue series, and if we can recall, this isn't the first time that she uses her mysterious powers. Throughout the Shenmue saga, Shenhua's character has always been involved in an aura of mystery. But as we have seen in previous episodes of the Shenmue Talk series, if we analyze her name in Chinese culture, we will find some interesting connections with her character. So let us make a quick recap to refresh our memories by analyzing her name one more time. As we can see, if we analyze the name Shenhua in Chinese, we will notice that its meaning gives us a similar description of how she is portrayed in the Shenmue series. And if we analyze her name in Chinese culture, we will see that it adds even more mystery to her mysterious character. I believe that this analysis puts Shenhua in equal terms with Ryo when it comes to the importance of her role in the Shenmue series, and reinforces the idea that it will take both of them to solve the mystery of the mirrors. But now that we have recapped on Shenhua's character, let us carry on analyzing the story of Shenmue 3. So, Shenmue's mysterious powers had definitely an effect on Yanlang. He suddenly started to answer all of Ryo and Shenmue's questions. According to the leader of the thugs, they were hired by the Chiu men to find the Phoenix Mirror in Bailu village, but as obvious, they couldn't find it anywhere, so they started targeting the local stonemasons. Among them was Yuan, Shenmue's adoptive father. He was the most important because of his ability to carve Phantom River stone, so he was kidnapped and handed over to the Chiu men. Yanlang also mentioned that Chai was ordered by the leaders of the Chiu men to keep an eye on them. He also tells that he gave Chai intel about the Verdant Bridge, and that if Ryo and Shenmue didn't act quickly, he might end up hurting Elder Ye to get more info. Upon hearing Yanlang's confession, Ryo and Shenmue decide immediately to go see Elder Ye.
Elder, yeah.
If it isn't Shenhua. Oh, and the young man from Japan. Come to ask about the Verdant Bridge again?
We have.
And as I've told you, it's ancient history. It has nothing to do with you.
Or does it?
The Phoenix Mirror. How did you get this?
My father left it for me. It's what brought me to this village.
Tell us about the Verdant Bridge. Please.
Su and Sun both told us you would know more.
Ah, so you've spoken to them.
Yes.
It was over 70 years ago now. 1910, the second year of the Shren Tong Emperor, and I was but a girl. An imperial envoy was sent from the capital to the village. The whole village came together and built a new bridge so as to welcome him.
And that's the Verdant Bridge.
It was a hot summer afternoon. Su Swan and I were trying to get a glimpse of the envoy and his troop. We could hardly contain ourselves as we waited near the bridge. At last, they appeared. They were resplendent. I can still picture them clear as day. The envoy came to command the greatest stonemason to make a set of mirrors of Phantom River stone.
And who was that?
Well, Phantom River stone can only be found here in Bailu. And of the stonemasons here, the Ren name became known to the capital. They were the family that was chosen to make the special mirrors for the Emperor. The envoy gave the design for the mirrors to Yuren's grandfather.
That must have been the mirror design we found at the house.
Which matches the pattern in the photo that we found at Manyuan Temple.
And the relief we found at the quarry.
This pattern is everywhere.
Listen carefully. Find the 6 tokens here, then climb the bell tower.
The bell tower?
As we have seen in this cutscene, Ryo and Shenmue finally get some answers regarding the mirrors and their connection to the family of Yuan, Shenmue's adoptive father. According to Elder Ye, Yuan's grandfather was entrusted to make the mirrors for the Chinese emperor. Upon revealing the story about the mirrors to Ryo and Shenmue, Elder Ye decides to reveal a secret that would aid them in their quest. But for this secret to be revealed, they would have to find 6 keys at her house and climb the bell tower. At Elder Ye's house, Ryo would eventually find the 6 keys and would finally climb the bell tower with Shenmue.
Where does this key go?
Ryo, take a look.
Hmm?
There's something on the pillar.
What the heck is this? Does this image mean something?
At the bell tower, Ryo and Shenmue would have to solve a puzzle that would include the 6 keys that they had found at Elder Ye's house. This puzzle is undoubtedly another example of yin and yang that can be found in Shenmue 3. Due to the fact that each key and corresponding lock represent opposite and complementary forces that are interconnected and interdependent. After having solved the puzzle, Ryo and Shenmue gain access to the upper floor of the bell tower, through a staircase that would lead them yet again to another puzzle.
Now this is something else. Doesn't look like anyone's been here for a while. A hexagonal prism?
This is a wheel repository.
What's it for?
You can find these in old temples. The monks keep sutras inside of them. Turning it once gets you through one sutra. But why is it here of all places?
Then, let's take a look.
On the upper floor of the bell tower, Ryo and Shenmue would find a wheel repository. According to Shenmue, they are usually found at Buddhist temples, and they are used by the monks to store scrolls with sutras. To move the repository, Ryo and Shenmue would have to use the Sword of 7 Stars, and to open it, they would need the paper that they had found at Elder Ye's house. This puzzle also revolves around the concept of yin and yang. In the repository, we find the various yin and yang symbols that were present in the keys and locks that granted access to the floor where it was found. Ryo and Shenmue are also themselves symbols of yin and yang by representing its masculine and feminine principles, and by turning the repository back and forth, they also appear to replicate the harmonious movement of these two opposite and complementary forces. It is this symbolic representation of the perfect balance between yin and yang that allows them to finally open the repository and acquire the scrolls that were contained in it. After that, they immediately decide to head back to Elder Ye's house to show her what they had found.
Shenmue, dear, what do you see on this scroll?
Well, there's a dragon and a phoenix.
I'm certain of it.
There's also some treasure.
So, if the dragon is the Emperor, and the phoenix the Empress, the treasure is the hidden treasure in their palace.
We saw all of these patterns in the quarry.
This pattern here is identical to the Phoenix Mirror.
The Chur-Yo-Man is desperate to find this mirror. For together, the Phoenix and Dragon mirrors are the key to hidden treasure.
This is huge.
Anything else?
The cormorant fissure and the hole in the rock.
Well now, let me think. The port town of Niaowu along the Lijiang River has a cave rock you can pass through.
Really?
Yes, it's quite large. As for the cormorant fishermen... Yes, that is a picture of Niaowu. I'm almost certain.
The last picture extends out into a mountain cliff.
A mountain cliff. It seems that the treasure at the heart of this calamity is hidden in those mountains.
This is a lot to take in.
What could these pictures possibly mean?
My dear, I believe you hold a map to the treasure.
As we have seen in this cutscene, Ryo and Shenmue head back to Elder Ye's house, and together with her, they analyze the scroll that they had found at the bell tower. The scroll contains the painting of a dragon and a phoenix surrounding a treasure. According to Elder Ye, the dragon represents the Emperor, and the phoenix the Empress. The treasure is the hidden treasure in their palace. As we have seen before, these are also two symbolic references of yin and yang that represent its masculine and feminine principles. The scroll also contains the painting of two landscapes that serve as a guide map to the location of the treasure. The Chio-men are also desperate to find this treasure, but what exactly is this treasure? Does it contain riches, like the ones painted in the scroll, or might it contain something else, something much more profound? Before answering this question and proceeding with any further analysis, I must warn you that it might end up containing spoilers. Nevertheless, what I'm about to present are just theories, and like all of the other episodes of the Shenmue Talk series, shouldn't be considered as fact. With that in mind, let us begin. So, throughout the story of Shenmue 3, Ryo and Shenmue have been encountering the same pattern time and time again. This pattern is represented by the dragon and the phoenix, two mythological creatures that were highly revered and represented both the Emperor and the Empress. But most importantly, they represent the combined forces of yin and yang. I believe that these two forces have always been present throughout the entire Shenmue series, and in my opinion are most certainly the answer behind the true essence of the treasure that everyone is seeking. But to better explain this theory, let us watch a cutscene from Shenmue 1 between Ryo and an old friend of his father.
Excuse me.
Oh, Ryo.
Is this a good time?
What's on your mind?
I want to show you something.
What is it?
This.
What an unusual stone mirror.
Apparently, it is called the Phoenix Mirror.
I see. There is a phoenix carved into it.
Is there anything special about this mirror?
Well, the phoenix is a sacred bird of legend. But, this has an ominous feel.
Ominous?
In China, there are many treasures that contain both good and bad fortune. This is called the secret of yin and yang.
The secret of yin and yang?
You'd best be careful. This may have something to do with your father's unfortunate death. I don't know if this information helps, but that's all I can tell you.
I see. Thank you very much.
So, in my opinion, this is one of the most important cutscenes in the Shenmue series, because I believe that it connects a lot of different elements of its story. As we have seen, Yamagishi told Ryo that in China there are numerous treasures with both good and bad fortune, and we know for a fact that both mirrors form a key to a treasure. Throughout Shenmue 1 and 2, we hear two different legends about the mirrors. These, I believe, represent the good and bad fortune that Yamagishi mentioned. The one that I believe represents bad fortune is the one told by Master Chen in Shenmue 1 that states that when the dragon and the phoenix meet, the gates of heaven and earth will open, and Chiyo will resurrect itself on earth. I believe this legend to be a clear reference to Lan Di and Niao San, since we know that they represent the dragon and the phoenix, and are both leaders of the criminal organization of the Chiyo-men. The second legend that we hear that I believe represents good fortune is the one that we hear from Zhu Yunda in Shenmue 2 that states that both the dragon and the phoenix mirrors when paired form a key to the hidden treasures that will revive the Qing dynasty. But what exactly is this treasure that represents good fortune? Is it riches? Or is it something much more profound and meaningful, as I've mentioned before? To answer this question, let us continue analyzing the information that Yamagishi gave to Ryo. So, when Yamagishi told Ryo that in China there are treasures with good and bad fortune, he also mentioned that they represent the secret of yin and yang, and that this may have had something to do with the death of his father. I believe that Iwao's intentions in the past of protecting the mirrors and not having them fall in the wrong hands, and by having them brought to Japan, may have caused an unbalance in the forces of yin and yang. This is what might have led to Iwao's death and the beginning of Ryo's journey. With the death of his father, Ryo's life also became unbalanced, just like what happened with Lan Di and the death of his father. By avenging the death of his father, Lan Di continued this cycle of unbalance that I believe has its origins in the mirrors, and that it is connected with the so-called secret of yin and yang that Yamagishi mentioned to Ryo. But in order to unravel the secret of Yin and Yang, Ryo would have to follow his father's footsteps and fulfill his destiny, a destiny that would lead him to someone that was already predetermined since ancient times to meet him. A mysterious girl that I believe will be responsible for bringing back the balance to Ryo's life once again. But what will be the role of this mysterious girl in Ryo's destiny, and what connection might she have with the mystery of the mirrors? As I've mentioned before, I believe that Shenmue may be a descendant of the imperial family due to her mysterious background, and the many hints that have been present throughout the story of Shenmue, and also the concept artwork that we have seen along these years. My theory is that Shenmue and her parents came along with the imperial envoys that were to collect the mirrors that Yuan's grandfather had been instructed to make. This was due to the fact that the Qing dynasty's rule of China was at an end, and in order to protect their lineage and their treasures, they were sent along with the imperial envoys to Bailu village. But during the events that occurred at the time that Ryo's father Iwao and Zun Mingzhao were at Bailu village, something very terrible must have happened, something regarding the mirrors that must have led to the death of Shenmue's parents. And because of this tragedy, Shenmue ended up being raised by her adoptive father, Yuan. She would be raised in Bailu waiting to fulfill her destiny, a destiny already predetermined since ancient times, to meet the one that would hold the phoenix, and help him regain the balance needed to also fulfill his own destiny. And it is the balance between Ryo and Shenmue that will allow them to unravel the secret of Yin and Yang, the secret behind the treasure that the mirrors hold. And it is within the mirrors that I believe this secret resides, but in order for this secret to be revealed, they must once again become one, representing Yin and Yang in perfect harmony, and form the key to the secret treasure that they hold. But what exactly will be this treasure? I believe that the answer to this question resides in something within the scroll that Ryo and Shenmue found at the bell tower, something that was hidden in plain sight. If we look carefully at the scroll that Ryo and Shenmue found at the bell tower, we will notice that between the dragon and the phoenix there is some sort of sphere surrounded by flames. And it is here that I believe resides the secret of the true treasure that Ryo and Shenmue will find. This sphere, surrounded by flames, is called the Flaming Pearl, and we can find it in numerous Chinese art forms where it is usually depicted surrounded by a dragon and a phoenix. In Asia, the dragon is revered as a divine mythical creature, a potent symbol of strength, good fortune and transformation, often portrayed chasing after a luminous pearl. There are traces of the importance of the sacred pearl of wisdom, or yang energy, in early Taoism, but it is best preserved in Buddhism as the jewel in the lotus, a jewel that grants all wishes. The mystical flaming pearl, rendered as a small red or white sphere ringed by a fiery blaze, is often viewed as a metaphor for wisdom, enlightenment and spiritual essence. This is what I believe will be the true treasure that the mirrors will reveal, the wisdom and enlightenment that will bring back the balance into Ryo's life and cast aside once and for all his thoughts of revenge. That is what I've always believed to be Ryo's destiny, a destiny of self-discovery and self-transformation. And once again we have come to the end of this episode of the Shenmue Talk series. I hope you have enjoyed part 1 of this episode and my personal theories and analysis of the Shenmue 3 story. So don't forget to like and share your thoughts in the comments down below. And as always, see you next time.
From a distant land in the east, from across the sea, he shall appear. He does not know of the strength hidden within him. The strength that would destroy him. The strength that would fulfill his wishes. When he is ready, he shall seek me out. And we shall brave together the rocky path. I shall wait. This encounter has been my destiny since ancient times. A dragon shall emerge from the earth, and dark clouds shall obscure the heavens. A phoenix shall descend from above. Its wings will create a purple wind. In the midst of the pitch-black night, a morning star shall glisten, alone.
Shenhua, dear, the time has come. Go with the one who holds the Phoenix.